Hello everyone. As mentioned in the previous lecture, today we are going to create NumPy arrays using various methods. To create a NumPy array, there are multiple methods provided in Python language. First method is array function. This function is used to create a 1D or 2D NumPy array with the help of Python list. It's important to note that the array through this function can only be created with the help of Python list. There is an example on your screen, which I'm highlighting right now. In this example, you can see that first we have created a NumPy, first we have created a Python list, and using that list, we are creating an array. In array function, we can pass the list, which is then converted into an array, and then we are printing the array. Let's do this example on Python. First, we will import NumPy. It will take few seconds to load the library into the Python program. Then we will create a list, say a list of 5 elements. Now we are creating an array with the help of array function in which we are passing the list, and now we are printing this array. See, when we print array, the full array is printed as shown here on the screen. If I want to print a particular element of the array, then I have to use index for it. For example, I want to print the third element of the array, which is 4 in this case. So the subscript on which 4 is stored is 2. So in with the help of array name, I will write a square bracket. In the square bracket, I will mention the index. Then the particular element of an array will be printed. Now let's take another example in which we have to create a 2D array using a nested list. What is a nested list? Nested list is a list in which its all elements are a list. Say here in this example, I have created a list L2 which has 3 elements, and those 3 elements are again a list. Now I will be creating one more array with the help of array function in which I have passed this nested list, which will convert into a 2D array. Let's demonstrate this example on Python shell again. I am creating a list which is of 3 elements, and each element is of a is list again. Now I am creating a array using array function in which I have passed this nested list. Now if I print this array, you can see it is clearly mentioned that this array A is a 2D array which has 3 rows and 3 columns. Now say for example I want to print the particular element of the array, then I will use two square brackets now. First for row and second for column. So with the help of this, I will be printing third element of row 2, which is 4. Now one more way to print third element of row 2 is 1 comma 2. Instead of using two square brackets, I have used a comma between the row and column subscript. In this two ways, I can print the particular element of the array. Now, let's move to another function called fromstring function. This function creates a one-dimensional array with the help of a string. Please remember that this function only creates a one-dimensional array, and it creates an array in which the string is converted for an array. Example is on your screen, which I am highlighting right now. In this example, I am creating a string into an array, and the array will be of type integer, and the string consists of the characters which are all numbers, and the numbers are separated by a space. So I have mentioned in the function that in a string the separator is a space and the converted array will be of type integer. So this function, that is fromstring function, takes three arguments. First is the string, second is the data type of the array, and third is the separator in the string on which the array will be created. And finally, we are printing the array. Now, the third function is empty function. This function can be used to create an empty array or an uninitialized array of a specified shape and data type. The syntax of the array is given on your screen, which I'm highlighting right now. This function takes three arguments. First is the shape, which is the dimension of the array. Third argument is dtype, which is the data type of the array. And third argument is order, in which there can be two parameters, either C or F. C means column-wise arrangement of data and F means Fortran-like. The parameters dtype and order are optional. If you do not specify dtype, then default data type is taken as float, and if you don't specify order, then the default order is C by default. Now, an example of this function is given on your screen. In this function, we have passed two arguments. First is the shape and second is the data type. Shape clearly says that it is a two-dimensional array of 3 rows and 2 columns, and the data type of the array will be int. So let's do this example on the Python shell. Now when I print this array, you will see that the array elements, that array has 3 rows and each row has 2 elements. Now you can see that array elements are some garbage value. Basically, these are the garbage values of type integer. So the array is created like this with the help of empty function. Now, the fourth function which is used to create an array is zeros function. This function works in the same manner as empty function, but the only difference is that it creates and returns a new array with all zeros as its elements, as per the specified size and type. See, in empty function, the array was created in which all the elements were uninitialized. So the garbage value of particular data type was given in place of the elements. But in case of zeros function, when we create an array, then the elements will be 0 by default. Now, the syntax is given on your screen, which clearly states that the function 0 takes three arguments. First is shape, then data type, then order, as mentioned in the empty function. An example is also there on your screen, which I'm highlighting right now. In this example, we can see that in zeros function, only one argument is passed, that is 5. So the array which will be created will be of one dimensional, and the elements there will be 5 elements. All the elements will be 0. The data type is not mentioned. So by default, the data type of each element will be float, and order is also not mentioned, so the order value will be C. Now let's do this example on Python. The error is there because I wrote the spelling of 0 wrong. Now if I print this array, Then see, in this example, you can see that 0.0.0.0.0 point is the output, which means there are 5 zeros, and each zero is again, after that zero, there is a decimal symbol which states that it is of type float. Now, the next function is ones function. This function works in the same manner as empty function, but the only difference is that it creates and returns a new array with all ones as its element as per the specified size and type. It is similar to zero function again. In zero function, the elements were zero, but in the case of this function, the elements will be one. There is an example on your screen. Let's do this example on Python. Now, when I will printing A, then the output will be 1.1.1 for 5 elements. It states that each element is 1 followed by a decimal, which is a float data type. So that's all for today. In the next lecture, we will learn arrange function, linspace, copy, reshape, and identity functions to create NumPy array. Thank you for today.